Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something that has no boundaries, no limits, and no restrictions. Imagination. It is the most powerful tool we possess, yet often the most overlooked. From the moment we are born, our minds begin to wander, to dream, to create, to explore possibilities that do not yet exist. Imagination is not just a child's play. It is the foundation of progress, invention, and discovery. Imagination is a realm without borders. A mental space where ideas are not confined by the rules of logic, gravity, or even time. It is the only place where a person can fly without wings, build castles in the sky, or time travel without a machine. Unlike the physical world, which is often restricted by rules and realities, imagination offers a free-flowing channel for the mind to explore anything it desires. This limitless nature is what makes imagination so powerful. It allows people of all ages to escape the present and explore what could be, what might be, and what should be. Regardless of how far-fetched it may seem in the current moment. In its purest form, imagination is the bridge between the known and the unknown. It helps us transcend the barriers of our current environment and push beyond what we are told is possible. A child, for example, can turn a cardboard box into a spaceship, a broomstick into a mighty sword, or a backyard into a galaxy filled with stars. This same mindset, when carried into adulthood, becomes a crucial driver of creativity, innovation, and transformation. Imagination doesn't just expand our thinking, it reshapes it, helping us view the world not just as it is, but as it could be. Many of the world's most profound discoveries and creations were once ideas that sounded absurd, even laughable. The Wright brothers imagined a world where humans could fly long before flight was even considered a possibility. Steve Jobs imagined a device that could fit in your pocket and put the world at your fingertips. These visionaries were not limited by the constraints of their time or the doubts of others. They were guided by a limitless imagination that allowed them to pursue visions no one else could yet see. This unbounded thinking is what separates dreamers who change the world from those who simply accept it. Imagination also breaks the chains of fear and limitation. It empowers individuals to envision alternate versions of themselves, stronger, braver, wiser. It allows someone stuck in adversity to imagine a better life, a new opportunity, or a different path. In that sense, imagination is not just about fantasy, it is about courage. It is about daring to think differently, to break free from the mold, and to step into a world of endless possibilities. When we embrace the boundlessness of imagination, topical. We give ourselves permission to explore not just a world, but the full. This applies. This gives ourselves permission to explore not just a world. Innovation does not begin in laboratories or corporate offices. It begins in the minds of people willing to imagine the impossible. At the core of every groundbreaking invention, there is a spark of imagination that dares to ask, what if? It is imagination that plants the seed of curiosity long before research and experiments take place. Without this initial spark, progress would come to a halt. The light bulb, for instance, was not simply a product of trial and error. It was first an idea born in the mind of someone who imagined a world no longer dependent on daylight or candles. This imaginative leap provided the direction for all future innovations in lighting technology. Throughout history, some of the most significant advancements have emerged from bold and imaginative thinking. Before the internet connected billions, someone had to imagine a way to transfer information across the globe instantly. Before space travel became reality, there were dreams of walking on the moon. Imagination gives us the power to think beyond the limitations of our current tools, knowledge, or condition. It sets a vision that drives inquiry, experimentation, and problem solving. In this way, imagination becomes the very foundation upon which all innovation is built. Without it, we would only be capable of incremental improvement, never bold transformation. Even in the world of science and technology, where logic and data reign supreme, imagination plays a central role. Theorists must envision how the universe works before formulating equations to test those theories. Engineers must picture solutions in their minds before creating prototypes. Artists and designers too reimagine the future by designing new products, new experiences, and new ways of interacting with the world. Imagination is not separate from innovation. It is the heart of it. It breathes life into stagnant systems and invites new ways of thinking that can challenge the status quo. Furthermore, imagination drives innovation, not only on a large global scale, but also in our everyday lives. People constantly find creative ways to overcome challenges, improve their routines, or build something better for themselves and their communities. Whether it's a teacher imagining a new method of engaging students, or a mechanic inventing a tool to fix an issue faster, small-scale innovation often begins with someone daring to think differently. This kind of thinking doesn't rely on vast resources. It relies on the simple but powerful human ability to envision a better way. And that ability, time and again, proves to be the true engine of innovation. In moments of despair, when reality seems overwhelming and the path ahead unclear, imagination becomes a refuge, a space where hope is born and nurtured. It allows the mind to drift beyond pain, obstacles, and fear, offering glimpses of a brighter future that hasn't yet arrived. This is not about escaping reality, but about mentally and emotionally preparing oneself for better days. Imagination gives people the strength to carry on, even when circumstances appear bleak, because it creates the mental picture of what could be. It tells us that the current moment is not the end of the story, and that something greater might lie just beyond the horizon. Hope as a powerful emotional force is often rooted in imagination. When people envision a goal, a dream, or a life beyond their current struggles, they ignite a sense of purpose and determination. This vision, formed in the mind, begins to influence their actions, choices, and mindset. A person who imagines success is more likely to work for it. In this way, imagination doesn't just inspire hope. It turns it into a functional tool that shapes how individuals interact with the reality. It becomes a compass, pointing them toward possibilities that feel real and attainable. For those who face injustice, adversity, or trauma, imagination is often the first and only step toward recovery and change. Civil rights leaders, freedom fighters, and reformers throughout history imagined a better world long before it existed. They held on to their vision of equality, freedom, and justice in times when none of it seemed likely. This act of imagining a different reality was itself an act of rebellion, a declaration that things could and should be different. That imaginative power sustained movements and communities through long battles. It proves that hope is not naive. It is revolutionary when paired with vision and resilience. In daily life, imagination serves as a quiet but persistent voice telling people not to give up. It creates possibilities in the mind that inspire action in the world. Someone who has lost their job might imagine themselves in a new career and begin to pursue new skills. Someone struggling with health might visualize recovery and develop the motivation to keep fighting. These internal visions, shaped and strengthened by imagination, lead to real-life transformations. They prove that imagination is more than just mental activity. It's emotional fuel. It creates the blueprint of a life worth living, even before that life fully takes shape. Imagination is the birthplace of creativity, serving as the mental canvas upon which new ideas are painted. It allows individuals to move beyond conventional thinking and approach challenges with originality. When faced with a problem, the imaginative mind does not stop at the first obstacle. Instead, it starts to envision multiple pathways, alternatives, and scenarios, some logical, others widely invented. This kind of thinking is essential in art, design, science, and technology, but it also plays a crucial role in everyday decision making. Imagination allows people to break free from rigid frameworks and think with fluidity, unlocking solutions that would otherwise remain hidden. Creative problem solving often begins with a simple mental experiment, a what-if question that leads to exploration. For example, an inventor may imagine what the world would look like without a particular inconvenience, and from that vision, a solution begins to take form. In classrooms, teachers use imagination to engage students in new ways when traditional methods fail. In business, imaginative minds craft campaigns, products, and experiences that stand out from the competition. What unites all of these scenarios is the willingness to view a problem not as a dead end, but as an opportunity for innovation. Imagination flips the perspective from limitation to potential. Moreover, imagination encourages people to take risks in their thinking, to embrace uncertainty and ambiguity. In problem solving, this openness is critical. While logic seeks definitive answers, imagination tolerates gray areas and incomplete information. It enables individuals to generate possibilities without immediately dismissing them as impractical. This exploratory phase is essential because the best solutions often come from unexpected angles. Brainstorming sessions, design sprints, and innovation labs all thrive on imaginative input. In personal life, imagination is just as crucial in overcoming everyday obstacles. A parent struggling to communicate with a teenager may imagine alternative conversations or responses that could open new doors. Someone navigating a tight budget might creatively imagine new ways to save or generate income. Even emotional challenges like conflict resolution or self-improvement benefit from the power of imagination. When individuals can mentally rehearse different outcomes, consider perspectives, or visualize change, they empower themselves to act differently in real life. This ability to imagine and then implement is at the heart of effective problem solving and is one of the most valuable tools any person can possess. Imagination plays a central role in helping individuals connect with one another on a deeper emotional level. It allows us to place ourselves in someone else's position and consider how they might be feeling or thinking. This mental exercise, imagining another's experience, is the foundation of empathy. When we imagine what it is like to walk in someone else's shoes, we begin to feel their struggles, understand their decisions, and recognize their perspectives, even if they differ from our own. Without imagination, empathy would remain shallow, limited to what we can physically see or experience ourselves. But with it, we're able to bridge gaps in background, belief, and circumstance. In our daily interactions, this imaginative empathy can soften conflict and foster compassion. When someone is angry or upset, instead of reacting with defensiveness, we can pause and imagine the pressure, pain, or confusion they might be dealing with. This shift in perspective can transform the way we communicate and respond to others. It encourages kindness, patience, and a willingness to listen. Whether in families, classrooms, or workplaces, empathy driven by imagination creates an atmosphere of respect and mutual understanding. It reminds us that behind every action or word lies a story we might not fully know but can try to understand. Imagination also helps us connect across cultures, generations, and identities. Through stories, art, film, or even simple conversations, we are invited to see the world through someone else's eyes. We might imagine what it's like to grow up in a different country, to live with a disability, or to be treated unfairly because of appearance or status. These imagined experiences don't replace real-life understanding, but they serve as essential first steps toward it. By imagining these perspectives, we become more inclusive, more aware, and more sensitive to the diversity of human experience. This is especially important in a world where misunderstanding and division are so easily fueled by ignorance or indifference. Furthermore, imagination-cued empathy can inspire action. It doesn't just make us feel for others, it compels us to do something for them. When we imagine the pain of those affected by war, poverty, discrimination, or illness, we are more likely to support them, speak up for them, or create solutions that address their needs. This kind of empathy becomes a powerful motivator for change. It leads people to volunteer, advocate, donate, and serve. In this way, imagination helps us move beyond sympathy and into true connection, where understanding is not just emotional, but transformative. Through the lens of imagination, we don't just see others. We begin to care for them as if their story were our own. Imagination plays a pivotal role in shaping our personal growth as it allows us to envision who we want to become. Before any real change can take place in life, we must first be able to picture it in our minds. This mental visualization acts as a rehearsal for the reality we aim to create. Whether it's achieving a personal goal, adopting a healthier lifestyle, or developing new skills, imagination allows us to mentally project ourselves into the future and see what success looks like. That image becomes our internal compass, helping us stay focused, motivated, and inspired. Without imagination, we might find ourselves stuck in present limitations, unable to conceptualize anything better. Moreover, imagination helps us recognize the gap between where we are and where we want to be, which is essential for self-improvement. It allows us to reflect on our current habits, behaviors, and choices, while simultaneously visualizing alternatives that are more aligned with our aspirations. For instance, someone struggling with confidence might imagine themselves speaking boldly in a room full of people, and that visualization can help reduce fear and build courage. Athletes often use mental imagery to rehearse their performances, just as professionals might imagine success before a presentation or interview. These exercises in imagination are not just fantasy. They are tools that strengthen focus and build inner readiness. In terms of long-term vision, imagination becomes the architect of our life's direction. It allows us to dream beyond our circumstances and aim higher than what seems immediately possible. A young student might imagine a future as a scientist, artist, or entrepreneur, and this vision can drive their decisions for years. Adults who rely on imagination to navigate career changes, pursue passions, or reinvent themselves entirely. It provides the clarity needed to make bold decisions, even when the path is uncertain. When we can see our dreams vividly in our minds, we are more likely to chase them with commitment and resilience, despite challenges along the way. On a more intimate level, imagination allows us to imagine emotional growth as well. We can picture ourselves being more patient, more forgiving, or more confident in our relationships and interactions. This inner vision helps us evolve emotionally and mentally. It becomes easier to set personal boundaries, practice gratitude, or face fears when we've already envisioned ourselves doing so successfully. In this way, imagination not only fuels external achievements, but also fosters inner transformation. It allows us to grow into the person we want to be by giving us a mental blueprint for how that transformation might look, feel, and unfold in our lives. Imagination is not merely a passive mental activity. It is an active force capable of sparking deep and lasting transformation. It has the ability to redefine how we see ourselves, how we perceive others, and how we relate to the world around us. When a person dares to imagine a new version of themselves, more confident, more compassionate, more capable, they begin a personal journey toward that transformation. This shift begins within the mind. As new ideas and possibilities take root, the act of imagining change plants the seeds for real, tangible growth, pushing us to evolve beyond the boundaries we once believed defined us. Throughout history, the greatest transformations, whether societal, technological, or personal, began with an individual or a group imagining that things could be different. Revolutions were born from the belief that injustice could be replaced with fairness. Movements were ignited by those who envisioned equality and freedom, even when the world around them was full of oppression. These transformations were not immediate, nor were they easy, but they were fueled by the persistent vision of a better world. Imagination in this context becomes an act of resistance, challenging the present by envisioning a different, more hopeful future. On a more personal level, imagination gives people the ability to break free from cycles of fear, limitation, or negativity. A person trapped in self-doubt can begin to transform when they start to imagine a version of themselves who is capable, brave, and deserving of happiness. This mental reimagining isn't wishful thinking, it's the beginning of healing and change. When people picture themselves succeeding, overcoming hardship, or building a new life, their minds begin to align with those possibilities. With that internal shift, behaviors, habits, and attitudes follow, leading to real-world transformation that started with nothing more than a mental image. In education, imagination transforms how students learn and engage with the world. In leadership, it allows visionaries to reshape organizations and societies. In relationships, it gives individuals the chance to reimagine how they love, communicate, and connect. And in every corner of life, imagination gives us the freedom to rewrite our narratives. It allows us to let go of past failures, to challenge what we were told was impossible, and to rebuild ourselves into who we were always meant to become. The power of imagination is not limited to thought. It is the first most vital step toward action and reinvention. In a world constantly evolving, where challenges often seem insurmountable and the future uncertain, imagination remains our most reliable compass. It is the silent force behind every dream realized, every problem solved, and every barrier broken. When we allow ourselves to imagine freely, we unlock the courage to take risks, the creativity to find solutions, and the hope to keep moving forward. So let us nurture our imagination, protect it from doubt, and use it not just to escape reality, but to shape it. Because within the power of imagination lies the blueprint of a better tomorrow and the strength to bring that vision to life.